Let's not just focus on the day-to-day. Let's welcome in Ed Yardeni. He is president and founder of Yardeni Research. Ed, you can comment on what you heard from the president, or we could just move on to the markets. I know from a market perspective, you think both gold and the S&P 500 can each hit 10,000 by the end of the decade. I'm not a math whiz, but that's only about 4 years and, 2.5 months from now.
Right.
Why so bullish?
Well, look, on the stock side, the economy has proven to be remarkably resilient. We've seen 3 years now where we've had the most widely anticipated recession of all times that just didn't happen. And notwithstanding all the shocks that the economy dealt with and continued to grow, I think the economy is going to remain resilient. I think we may continue to have these rolling recessions that affect different sectors at different times, but the overall economy, I think, may very well continue to grow through the end of the decade, which I, by the way, call the roaring 2020s, because so far so good. It has been roaring. I look for earnings to get down up to over $450 a share by the end of the decade, and apply a 22 multiple, and you get to something close to 10,000. Gold and stocks have a very interesting relationship. On a short-term basis, they're inversely related, but on a longer-term basis, their trends have been nearly identical. And I think gold is increasingly viewed as the safe diversifying asset that you want to have in a portfolio. It's definitely a risk-off asset, whereas Bitcoin is proving out to be more of a risk-on asset.
Yeah, Bitcoin's made a lot of people a lot of money, but it is down about 21,000 right now from its highs. So you've got to be willing to hodl, as they say, hold on for dear life and kind of ride that train, while gold just kind of quietly continues to make new highs almost every single day. It's been remarkable to watch. And by the way, silver too.
Correct. Well, I think there is a lot of wealth on the global basis, and I think a lot of that wealth wants to be diversified. Stock prices have soared around the world. We've had a global bull market. It hasn't been just the United States. People have a lot of wealth tied up in the markets now, and they want to diversify. And gold has kind of been sitting there for a while, but clearly gold is also a very good hedge against geopolitical risk. Maybe gold's down today on just some profit taking. Maybe it's because Trump is talking about getting together with Putin and Xi. But central banks, I think, are going to continue to buy gold. I think Chinese investors who lost a lot of money in the property market in China and have gotten whipsawed in the stock market there, I think they're buyers of gold. And I think Europeans are buying gold. You know, it's kind of like Bitcoin. There's no interest, there's no dividends, there's no earnings. So you can almost imagine whatever you want to imagine that it goes to. But the reality is, there's clearly a global demand for both kinds of assets.
You know, you heard President Trump mention the possibility of a meeting with President Xi of China, saying they want to meet, we want to meet, talking about hopefully there at some point an end to this war. Let's go to the former, Ed. And, you know, listen, neither of us is geopolitical strategists, but if we get that meeting and a photo op and the two, Trump and Xi, are smiling and there's a favorable de-escalation to trade, is that another leg up to the market, or has that, in your mind, already been priced in?
Well, I think ever since we had Liberation Day in, what was it, April 2nd, and that was followed by Annihilation Days, and Trump then postponed the tariffs, the markets come to conclude that Trump's going to get this thing resolved one way or another, in a way that's good for the United States. And if it's good for the United States, it's probably going to be good for some of our for many of our trading partners. But it's still an ongoing situation, ongoing talks. We have yet to hear the Supreme Court rule on whether these tariffs are even constitutional. So that could really start to stir things up, maybe whenever they get around to it. But all in all, I think the president's successes on the international stage are a positive for everybody, and certainly a positive for the stock market.